You wanna?
Because I think I would need to be able to put the laptop, like hold the laptop somehow.
Okay.
Or if I would be in the camera's range. Yeah.
GM. So we start in a. Yeah, just a. So, GM, everyone. We will start with our next talk, which is Esther from Drip. Esther will talk about. 1 second. Can you please, Chats? Can you please turn off the music on my laptop? Just silence the laptop. Alter. There we go. And then we have a HDMI cable over there, if that's okay for you.
Yes. Did you set this up to be perfect already, though?
Yeah.
Because we kind of need space for lunch.
Yeah, but we don't have it.
Well, you usually always put it on here.
We can realign it. Just
so I can plug it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can just put it here.
Okay.
Maybe like this is okay.
Oh, it's been in worse positions.
Also, then she stands in front of the projector.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
It kind of needs to be on the side.
Yeah, I can hold it actually. Like, if that, like.
You look so cute today.
Oh, thank you. I don't even have a Solana t-shirt. It's Liz, but we won't tell anyone that. Okay. Okay. So this is good though.
Perfect.
Are you going to talk about what drip is at all?
A bit. It's more about summarizing.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Okay. I'll.
Okay. So everyone, today I'm super excited to introduce to you Esther. Esther works for Drip. For those of you who don't know Drip, I think she might tell you a bit more about it. It's a really, really cool platform. But the reason why she's mostly here today is because she's going to talk about how it is to be a non-technical co-founder in a hackathon. Because we got this question a lot from people that say, okay, I don't know how to code, and actually I have no idea or no clue what I should do in a hackathon. But actually, there's so much more to it. And to share some light and to tell you that you don't have to be a coder to actually participate in a hackathon. This is why we have her here. I'm super excited. Please give it up for Esther, everyone.
Well, hi everyone. Thank you for giving me your attention for a bit. So I'm Esther. I'm from London. Infamously have been trying to make it to Berlin and become a Berliner. So it's like a huge honor when people tell me that, oh, you seem like you're really from Berlin, because I'm not, I'm from London. But yeah, so I came to Berlin in 2022. I walked into a room very much like this. It was a hackathon type of environment, except not many people were hacking. A lot of people were chilling. And I discovered that the first question that people will ask you is, are you a developer? To which my answer would be like, no, I'm kind of a researcher. I'm kind of like learning, and I'm like, finding out about Rust and things. And it was kind of a lie, because I wasn't really doing any developing, nor was I teaching myself, because I quickly discovered that I could spend that whole summer learning how to code and stuff. Or I could just spend it talking to people and figuring out what they were doing. And that was actually more interesting to me. It did not match the expectations of many people though, because of course, even today, you'll find that if you're just chilling, people will ask you, are you a developer? And there's nothing worse than the groan that inevitably follows when they realize that you can't code. and you're looking really intently at the screen and you're typing so fast, not because you can code really well, but because you're really good at writing content and doing things on Twitter. That's why you have really epic typing skills. It's not the code, it's Twitter. So I was really fortunate. During 2022, I met someone called Dan Kelleher, and he was working on a project called Sunrise Steak. And like as part of our conversations, I kind of just like got roped into what he was doing. And Sunrise Steak, as you can kind of see, is a project that was because it's currently still running, designed to use the Solana currency to purchase carbon offset tokens, and therefore kind of like contribute to regenerative finance in a sense that you're using cryptocurrency to do something positive for the environment. So that was his project. And had I been like a developer, I don't know that I would have been of interest because he was a developer. So he didn't need somebody to be doing like code or like hacky stuff next to him. He needed someone to just like write about it and talk about it. So it was a very natural fit for me. So my first tip to people is just talk to people. If someone says they're not a developer, don't initially write them off. Think about how they could fit into your organization. And even if they can't, try to introduce them to someone who might be a technical founder who doesn't have anyone who can do all the tweet stuff. So yeah, so my role at Sunrise Steak became the tweet person. We were really a good team. We roped in a couple of other people in the Solana ecosystem, some of which you'll see around like this space, and some of which will be coming like maybe for the actual hackathon when it really happens later. We went to Lamport DAO, which was like a first mini hackathon that happened early in 2023, and we were really successful. And I think that part of the reason why we were successful is because we had developed a really good working pattern. Dan and Ronnie, who's not here but does like front-end development, would do the coding. And then I and a few other people, we would do a lot of writing. And so we had really strong documentation, and we had a really good language around what we were doing. So you can see kind of like we won the prize, and it was really a surprise because we didn't expect to win, but we won. And like this is like one of the kind of like threads that we would write. So we just basically were very noisy, and that was a very good thing. And I would say that like I'm going to show you what the project looks like from like a technical perspective. But to be honest, when we were winning this prize, it did not look anything like this, which is now like the website. Nor did it look like this, which is kind of like the app thing that you can use to stake. Nor did it look anything like this, which I might just need to make bigger, which is like the actual kind of like technical protocol thing. I don't have the screenshots of what it looked like, but it was not looking like this. This is like nice UI. It works. It's kind of like intuitive what you should do. When we won the Lamport DAO, it wasn't like this. But what we always had was like something that worked. Wasn't very pretty, but it worked. And we had really, again, a strong messaging. So I guess like this is the second point, like, you know, think about what your message should be, and then consistently and like very aggressively just repeat it. Because what happens is when the hackathon starts, there are lots of projects that are competing for attention. So if now you get your messaging right and you know what you're aiming for, and you start the process of repeating it consistently, you will get the attention that you need to start getting things like collabs, or even like attracting other developers or non-technical people to join your team. So messaging and repeat it constantly. And so, yeah, that's what I did as a non-technical founder person or co-founder person / team member. I would just repeat the message very consistently, daily. And that was like a really, really good way to attract attention and to start also testing out, would this be something that the ecosystem would want? Would it be something that users would want? What were the sort of issues that we were encountering when people were struggling to use our protocol? So the communication also helps you get really good user feedback. So communicate to let your message be really strong. Also communicate because it's the way that you'll get feedback, which will help you develop your product better. Depending on what you're working on, because of course ours was more like consumer focused. You might be working on something that's more developer focused, but nonetheless, you kind of need feedback because, you know, we're not just building for building's sake, you're building for people to use and get some benefit out of what you're building. Okay, which brings me to the next point around collabs. So because we were really like aggressive and loud and talking to people, we started doing things like collabs. So being featured in Moonshine Labs, they did like this virtual environment, and you can kind of like see Sunrise Steak's logo there. And this is also which is another like really cool Berlin-based Solana project. So, you know, we did similar things. We would just talk about our projects, and we would just find collabs in the ecosystem, and we would kind of just like get people to test what we were working on and just like learn about us a bit more. I think that this might be another one. So yeah, speaking at events, this is something that's really epic as a co-founder. If you're like non-technical or a non-technical team member, there's a ton of events that are happening in Berlin, and you can very, very quickly kind of like get roped in and do talks. And if you have a technical founder, sure, it's epic if they can take time away from their laptop to speak, but maybe you would be the person who's able to contribute, again, get the message out there, get users, get more supporters, maybe even grow your team. So I think that by the end of the hackathon, and this was all happening during the like Grizzly Fin hackathon period, which was like last year, March, February time, we were just like collecting new team members to help because we were consistently going and evangelizing our project to people. So people would often think that we were like a super professional organization, but we actually weren't. We were just like a hackathon project. And it's because of that strong messaging, user feedback, collaborating with bigger partners, whether that's event partners or ecosystem partners, and evangelizing all the time about what you're working on. And so, yeah, you can see this is another way that we were evangelizing. We were doing Twitter spaces throughout the hackathon, making sure that we were like tagging Solana Foundation and Solana, anyone who basically was supporting our mission, we would get them roped in. So yeah, it's just kind of like going back to the same points, talking very strongly about your message, finding people who align with it, working with them together, and consistently spreading as loud as possible what you're working on. And yes, also getting support from people. So not only looking for collabs very directly in terms of letting people sort of like feature your project, but also looking for people who will retweet and talk about you. So Super Team Germany did a great job. So I know that they do this really epically during hackathons, even between hackathons. They do promote projects. So you might want to be thinking about, how do I turn what I'm doing into like a media powerhouse? How do I lean on people to also amplify the message? So I guess what I'm trying to like state and like overstate to like, you know, bash everyone on the head with this is, if you are non-technical, which sounds like a bit of an illness, it's not an illness, it's a gift. You have the power of speech and communication. Use it really well. Find people who will amplify you. Be very strategic about it, because it doesn't really matter what you build if no one knows about it. So your job as non-technical person is to be the town crier. Take your microphone out and go and scream as loud as possible, as creatively as possible, and find bigger and bigger stages to amplify your message. So this is what we were doing. This is what, like, I can see like Carlos, Orion's project also had. This is what everyone was doing. And the more creative you were, the bigger your platform, and the more chance you had of even like hackathon judges knowing about your projects before the submissions were sent in. So we also did like, you know, just interesting, fun things to like generate attention, like using these word blocks. And so, you know, having fun, finding, as I said, creative ways to share your message and things like that. That's like a really, really cool thing to do. And yeah, thank you, Carlos, for being our photographer that day. So yeah, it was really kind of like the role. So yeah, while I was doing all of these things and organizing all of these things, the technical people like Dan and Thomas, they were coding. So it was really a balance of labor. We had fun and they coded, which I guess they must find fun because they spent a long time doing it. Nonetheless, even though we were doing like so much work, it still ended up that this was like the night of the hackathon submission. So this is me. That's Chris, and this is the bear, whose name I actually don't know, but was Neo. This is Neo, who was a mainstay of the hackathon. So yeah, I spent a lot of time doing a lot of communication and talking and doing events and stuff like that. And I failed to actually create the presentation, which is necessary for the hackathon submission. So this was like really, really late. It must have been like 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Or something like that. I was still working on the presentation. So I guess as much as it's wonderful to communicate and do all these things, you want to be also thinking about your final deliverables. So try and channel all the energy of shouting and like doing activations and talking into your final product. So the person who is not coding is the person who's making the presentation. You start making the presentation on the first day. You start using all the materials that you're using for social media, etc., to feature in your presentation. And you kind of just like build it as you go along, because you don't want to end up like me, which is like after doing all of these talks and spaces and call recordings, ending up at like 2 a.m. trying to piece it together when you're already like super tired to make something that the judges will look at. So that's just like the moral of the story from like a communications perspective. Start your presentation on the first day, make the videos that you're using for social media and to like show people your product. Make sure that you kind of like are thinking about your presentation as well, because you can make a better version of it, which will basically go into your presentation. So you're cutting down the work, so you don't have like all of this stuff to do at the end. And yeah, it all came together really well because we won. We won the climate track of Solana's Grizzly Thin. I think we also won like a local track as well, which was really nice as well because we had a big team. So the Hackathon prize was split between like 10 people. And we had a big team because like we were very keen about like anybody who was basically interested, we would just like rope them in. So we had a huge operation of people mainly made up of people who are not coding, just communicating, finding collaborations and helping make the presentation look really good. So we were really, quite fortunate to be able to win 2 prizes as a result of all the work that we had done. And I think that also like it was a really cool experience. Like I feel like we really had like a good hackathon, even though it was really stressful and really busy, because we were very accepting of all types of people, regardless of what their talent levels were. We just wanted them to be involved and we found something for them to do. So this meant that like at the end of it, we were able to like kind of like translate what we had done into collabs. So this was actually a collab that we did with Drip House right after. We continued doing like mini hackathons in the ecosystem. So you'll see a few kind of like famous names or people here from like Solana / the Web3 Berlin scene. We came together to kind of like put all of this stuff, into being. So, as somebody who is maybe not spending so much time in the coding, you can also be doing really cool things to help other people, such as like pouring into the ecosystem. And so, yeah, we did. I can see Paul's name here. And they won. Yeah, we kind of like translated what we had learned into other things. So we had like ecosystem impacts, which went beyond just that one hackathon event. And finally, 2 more things. Okay, so we also did something with Drip House. So we kind of continued proving our product, making sure that people were using us and hearing about us by partnering with some of the biggest projects on Solana. And finally, we kind of did our own thing. And I can see Dr. Revel's names here as well. Yeah, we did like our own like art project where we were doing something to like promote, like working with like mangroves and supporting artists to make work that was about the climate. So I guess I'm gonna like wrap here and then maybe translate neatly into what I do at Drip now. Yeah, so I talked about a lot of things. I talked about the power of being non-technical / uber creative. Not to say that people who are technical are not creative, you're just creative in different ways. So I really struggle with non-technical. I want to find a better way of saying that, yeah, I'm not going to code. I'm not interested in coding and I never want to learn how to code. I just want to really be tech literate and help people who are epic coders to make the best products and projects. So yeah, don't see it as a weakness. It is a strength. Lean into it. Communicate. Find really strong messaging and repeat it from the very beginning. Make your presentation at the very beginning. Collaborate. Make sure you're talking to as many people as possible. You're finding bigger stages to like present your message. And finally, like community impact. Whatever you're building here and whatever experiences you have, there's going to be someone who has like walked into this room today and they're just like, I have no idea what the clue this is. Is this a cult? Is this like some weird seminar? What is going on? You have a role as someone who has been in a hackathon to kind of like help educate them, help introduce them to other people, and basically give them the guidance that they might be looking for or even not looking for. You can just like talk at them, I guess, for a bit. So just like make them understand that, yeah, what we do in these types of rooms is really important. Some really epic projects have been built in spaces like this. Some of them have gone on to like, raise millions and impact the lives of people. Equally, some projects have not gone anywhere. They've like, been born and they've kind of like stayed in this room, but there've been a lot of friendships and a lot of like community impact that's built as part of that. So yeah, use your hackathon space wisely. If you're a non-technical person, see it as a strength, communicate, collaborate, and just do as much as you can to have a positive impact on the community. So yep, that's a wrap for my hackathon experience. We can take questions about that and then go to Drip.
Yeah, wow. Thanks so much,
Yeah, you're
Esther,
welcome.
for this first part. Actually, I met Esther first time this Friday, and it was in the evening, and I kind of talked her into do it because she had such an amazing energy, and I was like, you have to be on stage, and you have to do this talk because like, this is just made for you. I got this question asked so many times, and you are the right voice to answer it. So please give it up once more. Nice applause for Esther. Yeah, and I would just then pass over the mic again, and then there can be questions asked. I will maybe run around with a microphone, so please raise your hand if there's a question. Oh.
I'll anxiously waiting to hear what drip is.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, no questions.
Well, then I have one question for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to admit, I did not really know the full story about this, but I mean, just going through your tweets, it's basically the who is who of Solana mentioned and all those signs, incredible. So I think you did a really good job also in networking. Have you been before in the ecosystem, or did you really just stumble in this room because you found it on, I don't know, Meetup or so, and then said, hey, why not?
In 2022, that's what happened. Like literally someone's like, oh, there's like a co-working space in like Kreuzberg. And I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. And I didn't like know anyone. I just like went there and then just like pretended to be interested in developing because I realized that if you did that, people would talk to you. And then like someone did a presentation on the Rust stuff. And I was just like, I'm not going to learn this. So then I became like a researcher, which is really just like code for like just having interesting conversations with people. Like there are like fascinating people who come to hackathons because usually, you know, everyone just has an interesting story. And so I was just talking to a lot of people, and then that's how I met Dan, and it kind of like went from there. So I think it's a route that a lot of people who are not coding take. You just go to meetups and then you just find someone who's like, hey, do you want to join? And I kind of wish more people would just say, hey, do you want to join? Because like, I don't think I would have gotten my role at Drip without Sunrise, because like it kind of like was a baptism by fire. So I got the hackathon experience and I got way more technically literate. So I don't still code, like, you know, I can understand though what's going on and I can explain how protocols work, which I think is a very good level to reach. But I think that it's also being honest about where your strengths lie and just leaning into that. So that's what I was able to do by joining a space like this and networking with people.
Amazing. One more question.
Yeah.
How did you feel reaching out to Drip?
That time, it was actually really like organic. I think if I can find the tweet, like this is, no, that's not it.
And it's equal, look at that.
Yeah, so like it was really, I think I'm blocking the thing. It was really just like in the spirit, like we were just like collaborating with anyone who would like respond. And so I was really, really happy. I think it was a Super Team Germany thing that helped like facilitate that. Like, yeah. So like this is the thing, like,
I was in
yeah.
hardcore, and we had like a whole Drip day. So Drip was like non-existent.
Do you want that?
Oh, sorry. Drip was non-existent really yet. Now it is one of the largest ecosystem projects in all of Solana. And we had 4 screens set up. We had a slightly bigger team previously back in 2023. And I was able to focus a lot more on creators and artists and all this kind of good stuff. And Drip had just come out and doing free airdrops to large groups of people. But at that point, it was a fraction of what it is now. And I hassled Bibu into giving us a whole bunch of free codes. And I don't even know how many people we onboarded to Drip. Drip is one of the best ways to onboard normies into Web3, and W3, obviously, because we're here. But yeah, feel free to share more, but yeah, big Drip fan.
Yeah, no, I think that I think that it was like a connection that you made. We were just like responding and then we just took things from there. So it was really cool because I think if you're working on your project, you're looking for bigger projects to like, I don't know if this is actually working. You're really like looking for bigger projects or bigger accounts to either retweet you or collaborate with you, because until they do, you're not really going to capture that much attention. And because all of us are on Twitter and there are so many more exciting things to like look at and watch on Twitter, especially now. We didn't have the meme coin craze then. Like, you're competing for attention really a lot. So it was like kind of like a hallelujah moment. I think we got a totally retweet in the same hackathon. We got a drip sort of thing, and that really just boosted us. So it was a really good moment for us. And we were able to translate it into something tangible, which boosted us even further. So yeah.
Yeah, great. So maybe this is also the right moment to lean into Drip a bit more for those of you who don't know about Drip.
Yeah.
Because I know, if you don't know Drip, you might not know why we all love it. So maybe you know in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I can give a really quick run through Drip. So as it kind of says, every single week, or even sometimes every single day, you can like log into Drip, sign up to support your favorite creators, and then you receive collectibles from them daily. So it's like a huge thing in the ecosystem, because there are not many things which like give you things that are not like airdrop tokens for simply just showing up. So Drip is kind of, I would say, a bit countercultural, because we have no token, we have no plans for a token. What we have plans for is to make sure that we can distribute culture, music, videos, art, animations from your favorite creators to you, just simply by virtue of you connecting your wallet and just saying that, hey, I want to follow you, I want to be subscribed. So I'm going to switch to the Discover page. And maybe I'll just leave it there to give you a sense of some of the creators that we have on the platform. So it actually was like a Solana project that evolved from being a physical store that was like, you know, bringing NFT projects and sort of educating people and sharing like physical goods and stuff into like a completely like digital first platform where creators sign up, we take in their digital assets, and then we send it out to an audience of thousands of people and also thousands of wallets. And I guess it's only possible on Solana because the technology that we use is compressed NFTs. I'm not going to really explain exactly what they are, because I think I'm just going to like very much shame myself because I don't know the deeply technical explanation. But basically it is like an NFT format, which is more cost effective in terms of fee structures. There's something called like trees involved, et cetera, et cetera. All you need to know is that like it's just way like simpler and cheaper to use compressed NFTs to send digital assets. So if you would like, you can like do a deep dive into why, but having this type of NFT standard has changed a lot for us, because we are able to send collectibles out at scale. We're able to do really cool things with collections, so people can like have some degree of interoperability because of the way that we've actually like decided to send out the NFTs. And yeah, it's very cool from a creator perspective, because we offer a lot of tooling that allows you to identify your audience, sort of like track how many of your NFTs, if you were a creator, they hold, and also track who is donating to you and giving back. So I'm just going to actually quickly log in to give you a sense of how the platform works.
For a sense of scale, they've minted 100 million NFTs. There have been 4 million sales on secondary markets, and there is around 500,000 collectors, and that's after all of the bots that they picked, which they're very adamant about. They have a whole system.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, thank you for giving that perspective. Because yeah, it's been quite a journey from going from, this was our first creator who I guess started in, it was around like March or April 2023. And since then he has had over 1 million like individual donations sent to him. And that's like people, thousands of people, like every single week, sending what we call droplets, which is our like in-game currency, to basically fund him to be a creator full time if he wanted to. And he really does have 1.43 million followers, and that's 1.43 million wallets that have signed up, bots being banned, and multiple wallets being taken into account. It's probably some thousands of people who are just saying, hey, every single week I want to collect something from you. I'm going to follow you and make sure that I have an opportunity to do that. So I think that in Solana ecosystem, it's really epic because, yeah, NFTs mainly are things that you purchase. They're not things that you receive. I think also, like, culturally speaking, it's really cool because I think that we're very used to like valuing crypto in terms of its economic experience. We don't value the social experiences that can be created. And so projects like Drip, I guess, are really important because they kind of say that there is more to crypto. Sure, have your tokens, have your economic experiences, have your pump.fun, but also have this, which is like supporting creators and artists to do what they love and be funded for it.
Yeah, thanks so much for this intro. I think he's an amazing artist. Actually, have you a picture how he does these?
He said he's going to start sharing the.
Because sometimes I see something on.
He puts it on Twitter, and
yeah,
this is the huge thing we want to do. Encourage people, like, you know, what you would share about your process on Twitter, share it here as well, so you make it more like a workshop for your art as well.
So since I'm not native, how is this thing called, which he uses to make these?
Oh, typewriter.
Yeah.
He
really uses a typewriter. So you can follow him on X, and you will really see him using a typewriter. So these are all letters. And he puts them together and he's like super fast. He's like on this typewriting thing and then he makes up and down and right and left. It's super cool. So it's super easy to follow him and then you can see like all the crazy stuff he's doing. I think it's really, really cool, not just from the idea, but also in the way he executes it. Super cool that you brought out this example.
Yeah. Actually, something that's also cool, which might be interesting for people who are building, I'm just going to log out and then try and log back in. Because there are also like innovations. So the cool thing about Solana is like collaborating with other projects. So I know that someone here from Dialect, we have a Blinks integration coming to Drip. I think maybe even today or tomorrow, they're gonna announce that. We also have like an integration with TipLink. So people can sign up like via Google. So if you're trying to think about ways of like appealing to an audience that goes outside of the crypto, this is like all my personal, let me dox myself, Google accounts. So I was going to close that. But yeah, you know, you have ways of making projects that can go beyond the typical Web3 scene. I'll try and see if I can find a Blinks. I might not be able to, but we also, So I think that if you're like a developer or even not, and you're thinking of choosing Solana, this type of thing, I think makes Solana very, very attractive because you want to be in a position where you're able to do cool things which go beyond just the regular crowd. So I'll see if I can.
Drip is doing a track this time for Super Team? For Hackathon?
Is doing the track? I'm not sure. So yeah, last time we also had a track, and it was like I think maybe things that were helping to connect creators and collectors was one of the huge focus things that we had as part of the hackathon. But I don't know, maybe Vivu will be willing to do it again, because that would also be cool if people want to build, even with Blinks integrations. It's something that we're still working on. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find one to kind of like show what it's about, but let me see. For any creators that are having auctions, I think that it does link to it, but I might just see if I can find a creator that probably has an auction running. No. Yeah, here we go. So I think that there is a links. Yeah, there we go. There's a Blink. So you're going to hear more about Blinks, but we've also integrated Blinks, and that's, I guess, between Solana Foundation and Dialect. So in terms of like different projects teaming together to integrate really cool things that helps make your product/project a lot better, that's one of the advantages of building on Solana. And a lot of it, if you're doing consumer-focused work, there is a huge drive to consumer-focused types of things, because obviously, if I'm on a website, I don't want to leave the website. I want to do everything I need to do on the site. That's the experience I have in Web 2. Why not Web 3? So Blinks are really, really powerful for us, and also powerful for creators, because it, you know, drives people's attention to you. They don't like leave your page. They stay on your page where they're receiving your work for free, and they're able to actually bid on stuff. So it's just, yeah, many cool things about Solana in terms of like its consumer focus. You can find it on Drip. So if you're looking for ideas, even for your own project, it's worth signing up, having a look around, and just getting an idea of what's possible on Solana.
Thanks, Esther. Yeah, and for those who don't know, as I just said, you do not leave your website that you're just on. So what you can see right now here, this is mellow art, right? We also have Tensor. These are NFT marketplaces. So now we are in the area where you no longer are on Drip itself. I mean, you still are on Drip, but you kind of buy this on Mellow Art, right on Drip still. And this is the power of Blinks, and this is what we are going to tell you and teach you all about over the next 2 days. You will hear me talking about Blinks a lot. I'm so sorry. No, actually, I'm not sorry, but yeah, that's the price you have to pay. Yeah, okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Esther.
Yay! I can go off stage.
Esther's a legend, thank you. And just to emphasize some of the incredible points that she made, the judges in the hackathon really focus, I mean, their last hackathon, there were approximately 1,000 submissions, 1,000 plus. And judges don't have time to go through all of the code. And so having a visual presence, making sure that your non-technical contributors are able to, oh, there's a hand up. No? Oh, Carlos, are you right? Do you want to say something? No? No? Okay, he's up next anyways. But the judges, is really important to have this communication aspect. They look at Twitter. Please, please make a Twitter account for your project. We will retweet it. We will support you. We are here to help. If you have any challenges of like, hey, what do we tweet? Should our language be? Please reach out. We're here to support, because judges, they look at Twitter, they look at what you're posting, they look how active you are, they look at how you're communicating. Because if you're not able to communicate what your project is and why it's worth investing in, why it's worth winning a hackathon prize, it's going to be hard. You're going to make life really hard for yourself. So finding people that can help translate those technical aspects to the rest of the world, and making your pitch deck, your presentation, and your social media presence really as good as it can be is a huge, huge, huge leg up against all the competition.
So you mentioned just Twitter or somewhere else, to promote?
Twitter is where crypto lives. Yeah. Everything is largely based on Twitter. If you're going to choose one platform, I would say Twitter is some of the judges before they see your submission. That is a huge advantage. And we have town halls every 2 weeks. We are more than welcome to come up and share your project, pitch it. We have a little social media thingy. We have a form, a Google form that is going to get sent out. You can send in your name, a little blurb about what your project is about, your teammates, all your Twitter handles, and we can do little super team, hey, look at what they're building. We've taken photos and made little presentations for the different teams too. So please use all the resources on social media and non-technical support.
I got a question regarding the functionality of Drip, because I was not familiar with it before. Do I get it correctly that if I'm a consumer and I like one artist of your site, I subscribe for him, do I get like NFTs that can be just sent from Holland? And I just pay him with donations? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so exactly, you would sign up with your wallet or create the tip link. The tip link thing, and then you follow who you want to follow. Whenever they send out work, you have access to what we call the common. That's just like the piece that goes to everyone. And to be honest, you don't even need to even follow people to be able to access it. And then you can secure it if you like it, or just like look at it. So securing is where the donation element comes in. So every 6 hours, we release free droplets to you. And if you want, you can claim them, and you can use those droplets to claim the pieces you like. When you claim the piece you like, then it becomes like an NFT. So we kind of are cheating a bit. In the past, we used to send these to people and then it would like automatically deduct a balance. And then we realized that with the network and congestion, we were like contributing to the Solana network not working as effectively because we were sending hundreds of thousands. So we switched to a kind of hybrid model where when it appears on the site, it's actually not on chain. When you secure it, it goes on chain. And we kind of give you free droplets, so you have the ability, even if you have like zero money, to participate in claiming and owning NFTs, which is like hugely revolutionary for NFTs, because even if you're doing a free mint, people always are paying fees. They're always like, you know, yeah, so free mints are not really free, but on Drip it truly is free if you're claiming droplets. Of course, droplets are limited, and of course, like creators can't live off the free droplet claims. So we do encourage people, if you like it, send a tip, but you don't have to claim some pieces. There's also some other cool things like leaderboards, which I didn't really get into, but when you basically donate, it can unlock rarer pieces. So you have a chance to kind of own something even more cool. Sometimes people sell these on secondary marketplaces. Sometimes they make tons of profit, sometimes they don't. So it's also kind of a good way to get people roped into the kind of like whole crypto thing, you know, own, trade, just, you know, profit, make connections, etc. Okay, no more questions?
Any
Okay.
more questions? Going once, going twice. Last round of applause for the incredible Esther.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Am I free?